Hello and welcome to Coffee with the Claires. As you can see, there's just me, just one Claire tonight. Unfortunately, Claire Harvey-May got stuck in London and isn't able to make it, but she sends her love to you all. Happy New Year, welcome. I'm in a new undisclosed location today. The signal is a bit patchy. The weather is horrendous in the UK at the moment. Wind, rain. I saw someone else put that they're having terrible rain as well down in Stockport. So please bear with us if we do drop out. We have a wonderful show lined up for you. I've got Gavin and Sam producing behind the scenes. So I'm not alone, and I've also got the wonderful Charlotte in the comments as well. And we have a great guest for you. So Happy New Year. There's lots of you. We're just going to have a quick flick through and say hello. We've got Trevor. I've seen Emily Talpin. We've got one of our lovely ambassadors, Kai. Loads and loads of, there's hundreds of comments coming flying in. So welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. And yeah, what have you been doing? It's been a while. I think it was November, the last Coffee with the Claires that we did. So we missed our festive live, but hope you had a lovely winter break and managed to get out and do some shooting, get some great photos. Obviously Claire isn't here, but we normally do a segment of what we've been shooting. And Gav and I spoke before the live, and I decided that even though she's not here, I'm going to show Claire's images anyway. So there's less chit-chat back and forth because Claire's not here to join me or give me any stick today. But Claire, I hope you're watching from the train on your way back from London. I hope you make it home safe and sound. But let's dive right in and take a look at what Claire has been shooting recently. So Claire did a series of photos when she went to Stockholm. She visited in December, and I think her plan is to do a big series of all of the metro stations. They have these incredible undergrounds, all painted or art installations put in, and this is one of them. And they're fantastic. She, if you follow her on Instagram, you'll see that she did a few different ones, more than what she's showing here tonight, but they are amazing. Like the detail that goes into them. She shot all of them handheld. I believe she used OM5. That's what she was telling me she was taking with her. So I'm going to assume, unless she's in the comments to tell me otherwise, yes, she shot them on OM5. So yeah, fantastic. I think the next one is my absolute favourite. Here we go. So this one is, yeah, it's brilliant. It just looks like a volcano, doesn't it? And she's got it with no one in it. So she went down there, I believe, at night after she'd finished work. And it's just beautiful, so much detail. I know she was doing some handheld high-res shots as well, so yeah, really fantastic. And then I think she shot this one from the other side and got a live train going past. There you go, you can see there. Handheld, I believe she did this as well. Really fantastic. It's a great project that she's doing. Definitely worth taking up a project like that. If you get to travel or if you go somewhere like Stockholm, definitely go and check out their metro stations. I had no idea about them until Claire had said. So really, really cool. And Susie Crow said, love this one. What amazing colours. Yeah, I think these ones are fantastic, the red and the green. And I love that she got that moving train as well at a nice slow shutter speed. Really, really cool. Fantastic. So yes, that's what Claire's been up to. She got to go out to Stockholm and she was doing a show with our wonderful colleague Pernilla, and she managed to get some really, really great shots like that. So fantastic. And me, I was at home in the snow, I think around the same time. So in the UK, we don't get snow very often. It doesn't happen, but we got a lovely layer of snow. And then for a week, it froze like -9. Again, never happens for that long, usually by 2 hours after the snow, it's brown, slushy mess. So I took full advantage of a nice few days of beautiful frost, snow. The light was fantastic. And this is not far from where I live, just 5 minutes away. And I had the place to myself. It was just before the sun came up, the beautiful pink sky. I shot this with the 20mm, actually, the 1.4, not at 1.4, although I do like to shoot all of my lenses wide open, not this one. This was done more about f4, I believe. But yeah, it was beautiful. The swans, the frost, the colours, everything just made this one for me. So that's why I picked this one. Tom has said, best time of day. It is absolutely fantastic that time of the morning. Nice to see you, Tom. Thanks for joining. And Emily has said, so peaceful. Hopefully you've managed to get out in the snow if you've had some snow. I think we're due some more in the UK next week. That's what my weather app says. So let's see. Fingers crossed. So let's go on to the Terry Day nice colours. Thanks, Terry. So these photos were all shot in the same morning. I did go out a few mornings in a row, but this particular day I got lucky and there was a roe deer out in the field, shot with the 300mm and again the OM1. Really great. I loved how it was kind of blended in, but you could see the outline of it. Yeah, and just beautiful light behind it and a really great morning for it. And my last one is goldfinch. So there's loads of them all over the seed heads, and the light was just right, and there was beautiful frost and snow on the branches and beautiful bokeh behind it. Again, this would have been with the OM1 and the 300mm. Stunning Claire. We had some wonderful frost. Yes, it was brilliant. I hope everyone else managed to get out and get some great pictures, but I'm just amazed at the detail continually of the OM1 and the 300mm. Such a brilliant combination for wildlife and bird photography. So yeah, I was very, very pleased with the goldfinch. Beautiful light on those, Claire. Thank you, Joanna. It's very, very kind. Yeah, the light that morning was absolutely wonderful. It's the best time. Unfortunately now at the moment in January, it's a bit grey. So I'm hoping for that snow next week so we can get out and get some more beautiful light and great images. So yeah, that's a quick run through of what Claire and I have been shooting. Both of those sets were in December, and we'll be back again next month, so we'll be able to show you what we've been shooting in the meantime as well. But you're not here to see my images and talk about me and goldfinches and snow. I could talk about it all day. But you are here to see our wonderful guest. Now, he has never been on Coffee with the Clares before. Some of you may have seen him. We've shared a lot of his images over on Instagram. He is an OMSYSTEM ambassador, and I'd like you to welcome Andrew Fusek Peters. Andrew!
Hey!
I love that music. I was dancing around in the
Yeah!
background.
Oh my God, I was
your
getting really
images,
excited.
Obviously,
Thank
your
you.
images, fantastic.
Hey.
Welcome
Thank
to Coffee
you.
with Claire.
Yeah, with an eclair. Yeah.
With an eclair.
With an
Gavin
eclair.
did have eclairs
He
that he was
did.
going to bring on and share, but we're not in person, so he couldn't. It's terrible. How are you? How have you been?
I'm very good. I'm not liking this big wind because the birds aren't coming into the garden,
No.
so all the lovely shots I normally get there, the birds are just going, no, sorry, and they're sulking in the bushes, so yeah, bad.
Snow next week, Andrew. Come
Well,
on.
that would be good. That would be
Come on,
exciting.
some snow.
Let's do it.
Cross
Let's
your
do it.
fingers.
Let's do it.
Yes, excellent. So, like I said to our audience, you've never been on Coffee with the Clares, so this is your first time. So why don't you tell everyone a bit about yourself and your photography?
So, I've been, it's a second career. I was a children's author for 25 years with my wife, and then I picked up a camera 10 years ago and fell in love with photography, but came into the Olympus system about 4 years ago. Went to the photography show, saw, I think you might have been there, but certainly Claire Harvey-May was there.
You can't miss her. You can't miss her.
Yeah, and I was looking for something. I was shooting full frame. I was looking for something a bit smaller and lighter. I'm getting a bit old. I get tremors, and I wanted some stabilization.
Okay.
And Claire was just so. She said, "Oh, you're going to love it. You're going to fall in love with it." And I'm like, "No, I'm a full frame guy. I'll try your system." I was so condescending. And she said, give it 6 weeks and you'll fall in love. And I did. And I'll never, ever look back. And so I work as a professional wildlife and landscape photographer. I'm on commission to the National Trust. I work for the national papers. I place in a lot of the awards and I do books. And I've become an ambassador in the last year. I love the system. I think we're going to talk quite a lot about it, but I'm fascinated by computational and good glass and the size. Yeah.
Fantastic. That is
That's
it. That's it for us.
Yeah.
You
Sorry,
are
I love it.
walking
I do.
advert.
Yeah.
Excellent. So everyone, if you have a question for Andrew as we go, put it in the chat. Sam will star them up for me and we will answer as many as we can. If you don't follow Andrew, then you should absolutely go and follow him on, you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, you've got a website, everything. Go follow Andrew. He's a wonderful photographer. So let's take a look at some of, Claire's come in.
Hello,
Hi everybody.
Claire.
Sorry
Hello.
I can't be with you tonight, but you're in great hands and Andrew's awesome. I mean, that's true. It's very true. We miss you, Claire. She's still on the train. Excellent. She's going through a tunnel, so she can't speak. Let's take a look, Andrew, at some of your images. This is incredible.
Yeah. So this was, God, there's so much to say about this. I had spent 4 years looking for where the black darter dragonfly, it's the smallest dragonfly in the UK, where it was roosting on top of the Long Mynd Nature Reserve as part of my work for the National Trust. I had this new system. Now, what's interesting is the full frame long telephoto lenses, your wildlife needs to be about 3 light years away before it'll agree to focus.
Wow.
But the Olympus lenses, the 300 f4, the 150 400, the 12 to 100, 40 to 150, you almost get macro with them. You can get in real close to insects. And it means you've got a chance of a moment like this, which was a moment of a lifetime.
It is
I'd
brilliant.
just done sunset. I turned round and there was this female roosting and the moon was rising a couple of days before full. That's why there's light in the landscape. This is not Photoshop. This is what I got.
Excellent.
Obviously, I brought up details on the dragonfly.
Yeah,
so to be able to focus on the dragonfly and get the moon, this was my first Olympus image that was highly commended in British Wildlife Photographer of the Year. It just, I think it really for me is a marker that Olympus can cut it with all the other brands, that it is a professional system, that you can get astonishing results. In fact, that you can get results that you can't get with other systems. Yeah,
It is
for sure.
absolutely amazing. And we've got the detail. Claire Harvey May, loves this one. And they just popped the detail up there for us as well. And you say you shot that, was that 300 mil, did you say?
300 mm f4. Oh, someone's just saying, what were you shooting for? So I had all the Canon, the 1DX, the 5D4, the 7D2 and all the big lenses. But yeah, I couldn't do that sort of shot. It's just impossible. So
yeah. And
this is just to line up.
Brilliant.
I mean, I was lying on the ground saying, please, please, please get in, because to focus on that and behind the bright moon is very, in front of the bright moon is really tough. But I got it.
It is amazing. The detail on it, it's perfect. You know, the framing, everything. Susie says, I'm a real sucker for dragonflies. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you, Susie. Hi, Susie.
And that is incredible. And like you say, timing perfect, and the light composition amazing.
Thank
Very
you,
nice.
Kai.
Lots of love. Let's take a look at another image.
Oh. So this is one of those things where my years as a wildlife photographer means I'm known in the community, and it means at a small holding at 1,000 feet, a friend got in touch with me and said that she had a mother hare who was very trusting and used to human beings coming in through the fields, storing her leverets by day, that's what they do, in the kitchen border, I kid you not, and then suckling them at dusk. So I set my hide up in the middle of the lawn. Look how domestic that is.
Yeah.
And I'm shooting with a 300 and the leveret's very nervous, but the mum knows I'm there. And this is a moment when I got it that was photographed less than 10 times worldwide. It was extraordinary. I could shoot at incredibly low shutter speed, 100th of a second, and image stabilization nailed it. Just a moment of a lifetime. And the system is small and silent. So, you know, yes, I now know a lot of the mirrorless full frame, they've got silent shutter, which is great. Yeah. But Olympus was doing it a long time ago. And you know, compared to one of my old cameras, which basically when you press the shutter button very fast, it would go bang, 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 bang. And all the wildlife would basically fly away. Yeah. So I'm silent. and I'm getting the moment. What a
And
moment.
even not putting it on silent shutter, it's you can
It's
barely
still
hear
quiet.
it. It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's
But I
fantastic.
never use the actual shutter. I've always used silent all the way through.
Brilliant.
And the level of detail there is just extraordinary. Look how swollen her belly is.
fantastic.
It's full of rich milk. What a and look at the eye. It's all about the eye, isn't it? Wildlife photography.
You can
the
see
eye
you
of
can see the
leveret.
light coming off the eyes. Yeah, it's
oh my God.
brilliant.
Oh my God.
Look at that
so,
detail.
So who
there is
says
loads of love for that photo coming through.
Yeah.
So many comments coming through saying
people
how much
go,
they love it.
M43, the image quality, all that. No, it's amazing if you get your settings right. And now with the amazing noise reduction software that is out there, and I should probably mention other brands. OM Workspace is wonderful. I don't necessarily use that. I use other stuff. But you can clean up your images very easily.
No, it's fantastic, and
what
a
moment.
Beautiful image. Yeah,
what a
it's
moment.
Brilliant. And like I say, you were able to capture that because you had a silent kit, and you were light and portable, and the detail is phenomenal. So fantastic.
Annette is asking, am I on Vero? I haven't done that yet. I'm just hard enough to keep up with Twitter and Instagram, but I probably should try that. So I think that might be a really good forum for photographers.
Yeah, definitely. Right, let's keep going. We've got a few images to get through.
Well,
this is brilliant. I think Tom
not photoshopped.
Said how much he loves your moon photos, and this is one of them. It's incredible.
So again, I've spent years studying. I think the moon is exactly the same as wildlife. You study its behavior, you work out when it's going to rise. You need perfect weather. You've got to get the moon in focus. Yeah. This is not a composite. This is the raw file. And this was for me a celebration. So where the Stiperstones ridges in South Shropshire, it is an amazing place for the moon coming up a couple of days before full, where it still looks full. Again, you get the light on the landscape. Yeah. And this was the MC20 had just come out. So this was the MC20 and the 300 to give you 600 actual, 1200 full frame equivalent. And all those naysayers are going, no, it isn't 1200 full frame equivalent. It is! God, get over yourselves! The reach is the reach! And look at the photo! I'm not making it up!
That is amazing. Do you know what? I just saw a comment where someone said, nice to see the excitement behind the captures. I get so happy when I get something good. And yes, your excitement is infectious.
The moment came, I was running up and down the landscape, about half a mile below where this spot was. This is called Manstone Rock, second highest spot in Shropshire, and I wanted to line up the moon with the trig point, and this was the shot, uncropped.
Amazing. That is.
Oh my God. Oh my
brilliant.
God.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Yes, and that one's getting a lot of love. Emily Taupin, thank you, Andrew. It is. I think she's shouting about the focal length as well.
And also, again, if I'm shooting with all that reach, now I've shot with some of the very, very big lenses, like the big full frame 600s with extenders on, and you have to be a bodybuilder. Yeah. This was just a lightweight little thing. The stabilization meant the shot was shot. You've got a bit of diffraction, but come on, it's a lot of reach. I think we can forgive it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, come on, yeah.
That is hard to get landscape and moon detail.
But it's shooting. But it's f9, which is again the full frame equivalent f18. You're getting plenty of depth of field. I never know with these shots. Should I be aiming at the rocks or should I be aiming at the moon to focus? It's a really hard one to know. Yeah. Because I'm only ever doing single raw shots. I'm not doing composites. So but if you're far enough away, everything should be generally in focus.
We have a question from Carol asking, what lenses do you use for wildlife? So obviously you've spoken about the 300. Yep. What else do you use alongside?
So when I started, obviously, because that was 4 years ago, all that was available was the 300. I used that with the 1.4 all the time. The 40 to 150, when you're closer to things, absolutely brilliant, like insects, dragonflies, butterflies, absolutely perfect. When the 150-400 came out, that changed everything, because you then had a zoom and you had an inbuilt extender and you had the legendary Olympus sharp glass, because it is bitingly sharp. And there were people going, oh, £6,500, oh. And I'm going, oh my God, but it's a serious bit of kit.
Yes. It is, absolutely.
And my 500 f4 cost a lot more than that back in the day. The full frame,
context
of
what it
didn't
used
have
to
a zoom, didn't have an inbuilt extender, and I had to, as I said, I had to do bloody press ups to it was exhausting.
And now you can't sit, drink tea, eat some cake.
Well, almost. I mean, you can't tuck it into your back pocket. It's a big lens, but
No.
it's so light
Yes, it is.
in
Much,
comparison.
much.
It's
Yeah.
so light. Yeah.
And that's it. In comparison, in context, absolutely yes. We have another question. Does Andrew spot meter for all of these backlit shots?
So the answer is no. In fact, I don't even really know about spot metering. I've never used it, and I'm
Okay.
an ambassador, so what do I know? But what I am doing, particularly with moonshots and dawn and dusk, is I expose for the highlights.
Okay.
So that means I'm generally always going to expose for the sky or the moon. And again, 2 days before full, the moon is actually all right within the landscape. Once you get towards full moon, the moon is way too bright and you can't bring up the detail in the landscape. It's
okay,
impossible.
that's a good tip.
That's a secret tip I'm giving you, my friends.
One of Andrew's secret tips. Quick, write it down.
Given to
remember
me
it.
when I started out by Ben Osborne, who's one of the great wildlife photographers, worked with David Attenborough and all sorts. He said, you know, a couple of days before full, and then you can get amazing moon in the landscape shots. Yeah.
Fantastic. We have more questions, so I'm going to take a
Go on,
couple more
keep
questions
going.
and then we'll
It's
move
great
on.
fun. Good.
Do you use the 300mm and MC20 handheld?
Yes, everything handheld.
Brilliant.
Everything
Fantastic.
handheld. Unless I'm sat down doing my garden birds, and then I'll be on a tripod, or I'm in a bird reserve in a hide. Then you want to have some balanced on something.
Of course.
But everything, especially with the moon, it's happening so fast.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
as I said, I'm literally running up and down. So I improvise. There is a fence post. That's a tripod. It's dry. I sit down. I stick my knee up. That's a tripod. So I just go with the landscape. But I generally haven't got time to set up. Though I have started taking a monopod out for the moonshots because I'm getting a bit knackered and a bit old. So yeah, whatever you can use.
Brilliant. And before we move on to the next picture, did you mention how far you were from the landscape?
So I was about a third of a mile down the slope. So although that slope looks like a little mountain range, actually from left to right there, it's probably about 30 feet. That's where the false perspective of a long lens makes it look really like, oh God, it's a mountain and you've got the moon. And it's just a tiny rock feature, and not tiny, you don't want to be necessarily clambering on top of that in the big wind, but it's not a massive feature. Yeah.
It shows what, the 300 and what 40 to 150s, etc., can do in landscape situations, and not just for birds and wildlife. So it's a fantastic showcase.
So it's kind of odd because I'm less and less consider myself just a normal landscape photographer. I've got my friend on here, Dominic Vashey's awesome landscape photographer, but I would call myself an extreme landscape photographer.
Okay.
And by that I mean I do big moon, big sun, and I've worked out with Photo Pills and all those apps how to do that. But the one thing I would say is if you're going to try and do that, look, anybody can photograph the moon by itself. So yeah, any lens, any bridge camera, you can do that. But to get moon or sunset with foreground is much more interesting. Buildings, London, Stonehenge, Stone
Something
Circle.
to show size as well. And
that makes it so much more, it tells a story because it sets the moon within our either inhabited or wild landscape and becomes a more beautiful picture.
Yeah,
anybody can stick a bunch of extenders on a lens and just get a massive shot of the moon, but we have telescopes for that.
I said that was the last question, but we've had two more questions about the moonshot, so I'm just going to ask them.
People like it. It's good.
What ISO did you use for this moonshot?
ISO, so I'm just looking at the moonrise. It was ISO 250, f9, and 1/125th of a second, handheld.
Fantastic. ISO 250 handheld. Excellent.
So I can bring my shutter speed right down because that ibis is legendary. It works.
Yeah, it really is.
And now with the handheld, maybe I'll try this as a handheld high res. That would be bonkers, wouldn't it? The level of detail
it would.
And dynamic
Next
range
challenge,
you get.
do it.
Yeah.
And how did you plan the location? Obviously you said you did research on the moon and...
So TPE 3D is literally the best app, and then you can put your markers into the landscape to work out where you want the moon to rise behind. And then Photo Pills is the one to work out all your timings on the day. But so I'm not going there hoping the moon might rise somewhere over in that corner. I've spent a lot of time.
You not just turn up at a location and go, where's that moon going to go now then?
So my best moon shots and the ones that have been in the national papers and that won awards. In fact, one of these moon shots made the cover of the Times. I was, I had an inkling of where to be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, let's have a look at the next picture. Someone has said that your enthusiasm is infectious.
Oh, it's very sweet.
Now, I know Gav said you had a better goldfinch picture than me, but come on, Andrew. Just
So
completely
after
put me to shame.
6 years of photographing birds in my garden, using different systems, even using high-speed sync flash and all different methods to get these moments, I've just come back to pro capture again and again and again and again.
It's
Look,
excellent,
folks,
isn't it?
it's time travel. Who wouldn't want time travel in a camera? What's not to like? It's buffering
Yes.
the photos, and the moment the birds do whatever it is they're going to do, they fight, they take off, they flare, you push your shutter button fully down and you've caught it. And with the EM1 Mark III, we had 60 frames per second. With the OM1, we got 120. Oh my God!
Bananas. Absolutely bananas.
Oh my God! So finally, my neighbour agreed that I could go and sit in his garden, which means that the light is in front of me rather than against me.
Okay.
And I've set my feeders up and I've hidden the seeds in logs and all sorts of things. And I want the goldfinches to have a fight. And maybe there's 50,000 photos that then come down to make this one photo. And I'm not exaggerating that, because you take endless bursts. And
You do.
just an hour's shooting, I've shot 3,000 or 4,000 photos. But it's that
Brilliant.
one moment where it all comes together. And I think this was before the OM1. So I was relying on the depth of field and them rising straight above the log, which they did, so that everything was sharp. Look at the light on it.
Brilliant. Ken says, amazing image. I would love to get an image like this.
Yeah.
Terry Day says, great shot. Arnold says, amazing.
Yeah.
Perfect background bokeh and colour for the birds. Yeah.
Oh, so let me talk about the bokeh. Now, this is really interesting. So again, you get the... Should we call them the camera snobs? I think we shall. Let's call them the camera snobs. Oh, M43 bokeh. Oh, and I'm like, wow, you haven't used our big telephotos, have you? If
No,
you've
they
got
haven't.
bushes at a decent distance, like in my neighbour's garden, then literally everything blurs to a creaminess. I didn't make that background. That is the background. Perfect light on a perfect day with a perfect moment. And this was shortlisted in British Wildlife Photographer of the Year this year. Didn't get any further, but I was just really honored to get that.
It should have.
Yeah, I think it should have.
I think
I'll enter it elsewhere. I will, because look
I
at the
think
claws.
everyone else probably
Look at the
agrees with
claws.
us. Yeah, it's. I mean, the detail.
Yeah.
You've captured it, froze it. Absolutely phenomenal.
Oh,
image.
so speed, I think you might want to know that. And so listen, small birds. Okay, big birds, 2,000th of a second, blackbirds, something like that. Small birds go as fast as you can. This was 4,000th of a second. But one more thing, I'm going to give one of my secrets where I can't believe I'm going to do this. When the goldfinch flies, 4,000th of a second, when they're fighting, you don't need to be going so fast, because they're flaring up and there's a kind of almost like they're slightly stiller. So you could probably get away with 2,000, 2,500 a second.
Okay, good
I've
tip.
given you my secrets. I can't believe
You
I've
have.
done that.
That's
Oh my
it now.
God. Don't do it. Say no more.
That's it.
Say no more.
Kathy says, lovely image. Becky says, you must spend hours going through your results from Pro Capture.
Yeah, yeah,
But then you get results like this, which is phenomenal.
yeah.
Okay, let's have this. So much love. Oh, someone has asked, what size cards do you use?
So I've now gone on to 128 gig cards, and so here's my. Okay, I love the OM1. I do, and look, £2,000 price point. Okay, I know. But come on, CFast. I'll just say it again. CFast Express. Come on. I've as a pro photographer, when I'm shooting a burst of like 90 or 120 photos in my 120 frame per second, the camera's all right. It does move on quite fast. It's got all the new things inside. It is fast. I'm not saying it isn't, but it's the buffer is kind of going, oh, I'm really tired. Oh, do you really want to shoot another set?
Just remember what you used to before you came to us, Andrew.
Yeah. But I'm saying, CFast. Come on.
Give an inch, take a mile.
No. So I'm using the fastest V90 that I can, and that's, I think you can get up to about 299 megabit per second on the Sony Tough. That's the if I could get faster, that would be really, really good. But that's as fast as it goes. So I use the fastest cards and the biggest cards I can.
Brilliant. Yeah. And how did you get the focus on the goldfinches? That's a question from Larry.
No, I'm going to give another secret. Well, I shouldn't
give us your
away
secrets. Come on.
So this was not OM1, as far as I know. Let me just check.
No, it wasn't. It was
EM1 Mark III.
EM1 Mark III.
So you got a log. Oh God, here we go. You got a log. You've hidden your seeds in the log. They come down. You focused on the birds at that moment where they are, and keep refocusing on those birds on the log. And then if they flare up, often birds fight by rising up. So they're like hovercraft. They just rise up.
Oh,
as
so
they're
they'll go
fighting.
from that point.
So they might stay in the plane of focus. But my God, I'm spending hours, days, months, weeks, years to get this single moment.
That's amazing.
In fact, I haven't got a good as one as this with my OM1 yet. I've got it of other birds, but not of the goldfinches. Yeah,
Okay.
I will.
I have no doubt. Okay, let's move on to the next image. Butterflies. I was wondering when we were going to get onto the butterflies.
So
that is beautiful.
yeah. So a little personal story of how I've spent 4 years photographing all the UK butterflies. I've pioneered flight and flight sequence shots. That there is two other photographers who doing that sort of work, and they're doing it very well. But I've hopefully gone in a fresh direction, which means I've worked incredibly hard. This actually came out of, I'm very glad to be here, by the way, and be alive, because I had a cancer diagnosis about 4 years ago. And I was waiting for my surgery. I was really not very well, and I was in my garden. It was October, and I was looking at the butterflies, and I think I had the M1 Mark II at that point. And I just thought, well, I can't do very much because I'm ill. I'll try and photograph the butterflies in flight. And I started trying to work out how to apply pro capture to butterflies. And I won't say any more than that because I'm not going to give away my secrets, but I did work it out. And the thing I will say is it's massive amounts of practice, massive amounts of patience, and stretching the tech to the very edge of what it can do. And it finally started to pay off with these photos. And then I got a book contract, and then we've got The Guardian are going to be doing a feature in a few weeks, and BBC Wildlife Magazine are doing a big feature on it, on the book. So I'm really excited. This is a pearl-bordered fritillary in the wire forest. It's one of the most beautiful butterflies I've ever seen. The law of wildlife photography applies to butterflies. The eye of the butterfly, Gavin, if you zoom in a bit, you'll see that the eye of the butterfly is sharp. Look at that compound eye. So again, like the birds, it's thousands, tens of thousands of shots. Are you right there, Claire? Something's going on.
I'm having a little coughing fit here. I don't know.
I thought something was going on.
Last week, and I've just got something stuck.
Oh no, my God.
Please keep talking. If I need to cough, I'll mute.
Yeah. So basically, having come through all that, and actually I'm clear, and hopefully I'll live for a long time yet because I've got plenty of stuff I want to do. The butterfly thing just took off, and I literally fell in love with butterflies as a species, and then grew increasingly concerned about how how our wildlife is doing in this country and all around the world. So that's part of the journey in my book called Butterfly Safari that comes out in a few weeks. But to catch this moment when it all came together, when I see the flared wing, the bluebell, the foreground, the story of the this is Biff, right? Biff is birds in flight, right? No, it isn't.
Butterflies in flight.
Is butterflies in flight. It's the final frontier, my friends.
Excellent. I'm sort of back. John said, "Don't choke, Claire." I'm trying not to.
No, don't choke.
Trying not to.
There we go.
pass out.
Colourful pictures. Colourful pictures.
Beautiful, beautiful. Lots of lovely comments. My voice is probably going to go.
Yeah.
It's children going back to nursery and then bringing their bugs home. So that's me this week. Emily said, "Stunning shot."
Thank you.
Gav, if I lose my voice, you're going to have to come on and start talking for me. You're in the background, aren't you, Gav? Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. Let's move on to the next photo. And I'll try not to cough through this.
Oh, hang on. Don't go yet. No, come back. Go back. Yeah. Oh, no, because we'll talk about this, and then that will segue into the next one. Again and again and again, I keep coming up with things that I find very interesting. And there are so many wildlife photographers who go, oh, M43 is too much depth of field. And I'm going, you know what?
Those snobs
with the butterflies, it's really good. Because not only do you get the depth of field, you need to get as much of the butterflies as you can in focus, but the background's still really lovely. So this is the 4150. What a lens. What a lens. So
amazing.
Yeah. There we go.
Absolutely fantastic.
Depth of field, that's what we'll talk about in the next shot. So you can go on to the next one.
Okay.
So
I love these shots that you do.
Wow.
These are incredible.
So this, I don't think anybody's done. This is moving in a whole new direction. As I started to work out how to photograph butterflies in flight, then I started to see that with the 60 frames per second, and then again with the OM1, this is the OM1, my friends, 120 frames per second. You've got the chance of capturing a sequence. There is no camera on earth that will do that in camera, by the way. Just and also most of the competitions won't allow it, which I think is a shame, because it's actually showing. So what a friend of mine who I met, he said to me, your photos bridge the gap between a still and a video. And I thought, as in these kind of time lapse.
Really
shots
well said. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a really interesting way of putting it. So, having developed the flight sequences with the longer lenses, I suddenly thought, well, what if I could tell the story of the landscape as well? And again, This is not done using. Well, it is done using Photoshop, because I'm obviously putting in the birds, the butterflies in the sequence. So how do I get that close to a butterfly? And so let's just start with the species. This is the Glanville fritillary, one of the rarest butterflies in the UK. This is the Isle of Wight. This is Compton Bay. This is one of the places that they love being during the day. But I've got all the landscape in there. I've got the whole story. So once again, a lens that was not really meant for this sort of work, which is the oh my God, I'll tell you the lens, the 12 to 100. It's insane. When you're at the 12 mil, you can literally stick it up the bottom of a butterfly, and it'll focus. I'm so sorry. No, don't stick it up. Don't stick it up the bottom of the butterfly. That's another video entirely. No, sorry, stop. But anyhow, the close focus distance is mad.
It is incredible.
I don't know how close. Yeah. How could I get closer with the 8mm 1.8? I've tried a bit of that. That was interesting. So you have so many things that can come together. And because I'm shooting here, I think, let me look at f8. I've got f16, so it's a landscape photo.
Yeah.
But it's a landscape photo with a butterfly in flight. But it's a landscape photo with a butterfly sequence in flight of one of the rarest butterflies in the UK. And this got shortlisted in close-up photography of the year, but it didn't. What can you do? What can you do?
Mad. Someone has asked, do you use back focus? Do you use back button focusing?
So a really interesting question. When I was shooting Canon, it's the cool thing to do, and it probably did make sense to separate out your focus and your shutter. That seemed to make a lot of sense. And actually, to start with my EM1 Mark II, I did that. And actually now, I don't. Okay. I don't see the need for it. The half press is fine for me. It does everything I want it to do.
It's a personal preference, isn't it?
So you might want to use that, but I'm as a pro wildlife photographer, I'm personally not seeing any advantage to doing that. The system is so responsive.
Yeah, super fast. So Trevor has said, these make me want to go and try butterflies
go
this
for
summer.
it.
Yes,
Enjoy.
Trevor, get out there, shoot some butterflies. Chuck has asked, for this and the previous butterfly, do you use subject detection? Okay,
so very simple answer, no. And I'm not going to say any more than that, but no. So at the moment, no is good. If that's all I'm going to say. There is one camera system that's just introduced insect subject detection, and I'll be interested to see where that goes. I'd love the OM1 Mark II or the OM1X to do that. Oh, that's an ask, please, to the guys and the guys and the women in Japan. Let's do it. Come on. There's a lot of insect photographers out there. That'd be so cool.
Send it up. Yeah. Andrew must put in many hours to get so many amazing shots. Yeah. They just don't frequently happen like this.
That's very kind. I mean, even on this particular
doing it.
Yeah. I was hours at this spot, and most of the other shots didn't work, and I had one sequence where the butterfly stayed in focus. It was just an amazing moment. So yeah.
Fantastic. Excellent. Tom has weighed in on back button. He said back button for landscapes, back button for wildlife.
Well, he can, but
front
Tom, your photos are great, so you know.
I think he means front for wildlife.
Oh, does he? Yeah,
he's corrected himself. Front for wildlife. Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
Well, I've lost that.
Someone's asked, is that the original crop?
Pretty much. I think that is a full size. Yeah, I think I might have cropped a tiny bit of the sky and a bit on the left out, but yes. I got in real close.
Well, it is beautiful. I love all of your butterfly sequences. They're fantastic.
Thank you.
Right, let's go on the left. Let's just keep going. Let's go on to another one.
Let's just do it. Oh, well.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Computational. I mean, really. So now nobody's admitted this, but I've got my theory. Here we go. I'm going to get very, very passionate here. The EM1 Mark III and the EM1X had the handheld, not the handheld, but had in-camera focus stacking, which actually you could, if you work very hard, do handheld. Um, the OM1, nobody said, oh, it's actually improved, but I think it has. And this is in-camera focus stacking with lighting. This was in the middle of a rainstorm. Yes, I went out to find the roosting wood white, very rare butterfly in the middle of a rainstorm. That's a forget-me-not 60mm macro. And I've tweaked the settings of the in-camera focus stacking. So I think I do 11 shots, and you can change from between about 2 to 10, but I go 2 to 5. The focus differential. You've got to play with it. The only thing it does not give you a raw file, but it seems to do something in the camera with the JPEG that's really, really good. I haven't quite worked out what it is, but my butterfly book has quite a lot of in-camera stacked JPEGs. It does magic. It does OM system magic.
Excellent. Yeah, it does. And the detail. I mean,
the detail.
Incredible.
And we're obviously
nice
hopeful
comments.
for
Kathy just popped up, said that is cool.
Yeah. And I think there's a new macro lens on the way, so we're all going to get very excited about that, but we shall see. But the 60mm macro, oh my God, it's just bitingly sharp. It's gnawingly sharp, like a shark, like a shark.
We have a question from Claire Williams. What lighting do you use?
So this was just an LED light. Now I'm going to change my game this year. So this is just a nice, a good quality LED light that I've got on the front of the camera. But I think I'm going to go down the Adaptalux route because I think they're really, really good, and they've got wiggly woggly, things that you can aim the light properly at your insect roosting or whatever it's doing. So I'm looking forward to playing with stuff on that. But yeah, I definitely needed lighting for this. It was dark and it was wet. I was keen.
That detail is just incredible, isn't it? That is just that is phenomenal. That is brilliant.
Yeah. And my friend Dominic, who's a great printer, he said he would like to print it. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go on. Oh. Hello. 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 I think we've lost Claire. Hello.
Oh. Am I back?
Yeah.
I'm back. Excellent.
Hello, Claire. I got a bit worried.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You just keep talking. If I do drop out for any reason, like I say, the weather is dodgy up here where I am. So if I do drop out, just carry on talking about your images. Gav can come in and throw some questions at you.
Oh, I've just got a question.
Okay.
I've just got a question here about the app for the moon. It's called TPE, the Photographer's Ephemeris 3D. Takes some learning.
Excellent. Have a look at it, everyone. It's position of the moon, fantastic. Okay, can you repeat the name of that new LED macro light system?
Well, I haven't got it yet, so I can't recommend it, but Adaptalux, they really specifically for macro lighting, and I think that's going to go really well with the Olympus macro setup. The OM system macro setup.
Fantastic. Okay, let's go on to the next image, Gav. Beautiful. Starlings.
Starlings. So we had at a place called Wixle Moss in North Shropshire an amazing murmuration over 3 days back in 2019, I think it was. And I went there for the first 2 days, got some of my photos in the national papers. I was really excited. But then someone posted on Facebook a bloody murmuration with a reflection of it. And I thought, how dare he? So I drove back the final night with the amazing weather. And there were the flooded fields called Sinkers Fields. And there was the reflection. And yeah, it was astonishing. Again, the 12 to 100 doing everything. Little tip for murmurations, you can really shoot slow shutter speed because it's a shape. You can go down to 1/250th of a second and still keep your ISO low.
Excellent.
Yeah, but the light was extraordinary. The shape, they often only make the shapes in the last kind of couple of minutes before they go down to roost in the willow trees. So this was a magical, magical moment.
And this appeared on the cover of AP, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Am I right
yeah.
in that one?
Just a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. So
Ah,
that
here
was
we
a
go.
real.
Fantastic.
If you go, I think it's just 1 week or 2 weeks ago, and I did a whole
Okay.
feature about photographing starling murmurations, and then they went with the cover, which is just again awesome to go once again. This is pro kit for amateurs and pros alike, but it can really deliver, and it's good
Yeah.
enough for covers of newspapers and magazines and publishing work.
Oh
Easily
yeah,
good enough.
absolutely. Right, I'm going to move us on because we've got
We're
10
running
minutes
out of
left, so I
time.
want to get
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
last images and then have a bit more of a
Yeah.
chat. Ah, this one is
Ho
brilliant.
ho!
Wrens, oh my God, I
Yeah.
struggle to find them, or I find one
Yeah.
and then they go
Yeah.
down into the
Yeah.
undergrowth and then gone.
And they're a really small bird. And this was so I'd had my
They are.
OM1, I think, for about a week. And I thought, okay, I know it can do bird detection on the big birds, but this is a tiny little bird. And it was building its nest in our garden. I love the symbolism of the leaf because the leaf is
Yeah.
last year's life, and yet it's going to create new life in the nest underneath
Ah, I
our
like
tree
that.
house.
Yeah.
So the OM1 suddenly brought some new things to the game. Obviously, the bird detection, amazing, and you can see how sharp the eye is there. But also, one of the biggest two things. Sorry, three things: bird detection, 50 frames per second pro capture with autofocus. Oh, I don't know a camera that does that.
Excellent.
It's just so I was using
magic.
that. And then there's a lot of naysayers that go, oh, the ISO isn't any different to the M1 Mark III and the M1X. And I can only share my experience. This was 5,000
Yeah.
ISO. It's clean
Wow.
as a whistle. This got
That is
shortlisted
fantastic.
British Wildlife Photographer of the Year, and now it's going to be in the British Wildlife Photography of the Year 2023 book. So that's an honour.
Amazing.
That just heard
That
that
is, yeah.
yesterday.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
I'm so
Such a
happy
great
because it's a beautiful image.
Yeah.
And I feel it's not like I'm married to my kit, but there is a relationship going on, and
Yeah.
it's working with me. And I think I've said this all the way through, that I sense the engineers and the people who create this tech are wanting you to take good photos, whatever level of photography you're doing. It's on your
Yes.
side.
Of
Trust me.
course. Someone has asked, did you crop this a lot?
That's cropped, yeah. So there
That's
was
cropped, okay.
so in fact when the book comes out, you'll see where it was flying straight towards the ivy where they had the nest. So that's actually in the final image. But I wanted just to show something cropped in here,
Yeah,
and then there was a bit of
brilliant.
a leaf above it as well. Yeah,
Fantastic. Excellent detail. Okay, let's
it
see what
is.
else we've got.
Ah, this is
Ah,
the final. This is
silhouettes. I love
I
these.
think our
This
final
is our
image.
final one.
I think it's our
Okay,
final one.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Nice
yeah, yeah.
end.
Have we done all of them? Yes, we have. So I was for 4 years, as I said, finding where these black darters, the tiny, tiny dragonflies, a male and a female, where they were roosting by evening in the reeds on top of the Long Mynd. Sadly, during the heat wave last year, there are normally hundreds up there. There was only 5, and they are a declining species. This is where we go into the newspaper story in a bit. But this was a magical moment. I'm lying down. I think it's the 300. Let me just check. Guardian cover. Oh no, it's the 40. Sorry, 40 to 150 f2.8.
40 to 150. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. 16,000th of a second. People go, oh, ISO 64 isn't a thing. It is. And I've seen it. I've seen it work with me in terms of lifting shadows and landscapes and all sorts of things. I think there is something there, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm getting bitten to death by midges, and I just got it, but I've got to land the shot because the sun only goes this color in the last minute before
Yeah.
it sets. So if you look at the sequence of shots before this minute, the sun is white hot, and what I
Wow.
need the sun to do is to go caramel yellow.
Yeah.
And again, to focus is so difficult because you've got a bright thing behind an insect. But we managed the shot, and it was just, again, this was also shortlisted for British Wildlife Photographer of the Year, and I'd say it's one of my most important photos.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful.
it's just a moment, isn't it? And again, you've got
Yeah,
that weird minimum focus distance. I can get close in. This is hardly cropped. I can get close in to the dragonflies, almost at a macro level. You've got lovely detail on
yeah,
the wings, but you've also got the sun. That's what makes the story work, really.
yeah. And it
And the
does.
messy and all the sticks, the messy landscape, just as part
Yeah, I love it. Everything it
of
just
where they live.
makes it, doesn't it? And the detail
It's
on those
it's
wings,
yeah,
superb.
it's I hesitate to use the word spiritual, but I think it is. I think
Yeah.
it says something about my passion for wildlife photography,
Mm,
that I want images that are evocative and say something about our natural world. Oh, and I
yeah.
can't paint, but I'm moving more and more towards a painterly approach in my photos.
Yeah, it's
And
beautiful.
I'm like, nature
And
provide that to do that. I don't need to
everyone
do
agrees
things
in the
to them.
comments. There's
Yeah,
so many,
yeah,
so inspiring, lovely
yeah,
image.
yeah,
Um, Going back, wow, the light on the murmuration
yeah,
is amazing.
yeah.
I love the fact that
Oh,
you can see all the detail on the fragile
yes,
wings through the light.
yeah.
They're endless, endless, wonderful comments.
And why such a fast shutter speed? So if you do moon and where you've got moon or sun as backdrop, you'll know that you need to shoot as wide as possible, because the wider you shoot, the bigger the sun or the moon looks in your final frame. So I was shooting f2.8. The sun's very bright, hence
Yeah,
16,000th of a second. Quite useful.
excellent.
Quite useful.
I think we've got an image of it on the cover as
Yeah.
well of the Guardian.
So because I've been working for years with my press agency, and they've got photos on file. So this was taken a few years ago, and the National Trust did a big thing about the climate change and some of the species that are struggling. One of them being the black darter dragonfly. They were obviously looking for a black darter image, and mine was the one that they had on file. So my press
Beautiful.
agency emailed me in the morning. I ran downstairs screaming to my wife and son. They thought I'd broken my leg or something. I said, no, it's really good. But it's really good, but it's also really sad, because the photo is there because it's talking
Yeah,
about how these species are struggling. So I have a
it is.
role
Hopefully this
I
will bring more
make people
awareness as
think.
well.
I like my own
Yeah,
glory. It's great fun. I want to be famous. I want to do well. I want to win all the awards. Of course I do. But I also
of
want to
course.
help raise awareness and show beauty
Yeah,
and make people think about things. Hopefully I've got a bit of that in my soul as well.
absolutely.
There we go. Yeah.
Lots and lots of lovely comments. Someone said one of my favourite insects, spectacular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sue has said, what a
Definitely.
passionate and spiritual photographer. Many thanks for
Oh,
sharing, Andrew.
it's very
It's
sweet.
yes, it's been wonderful
Oh,
having you.
hey,
Apart from
hey.
my coughing fit in the middle, and then my
We missed
drop
it.
out
We
of
didn't see
internet
it.
connection. We've had a great time.
Yeah.
No, your photos are fantastic. A couple of things to chat about as we're in the last 5 minutes. You've written a lot of books. We spoke about
Yep.
that
Yep.
earlier on. You have a new book coming out in the
Yep.
spring, if I'm correct. Butterflies. Tell us a bit
Yep.
about that.
So in fact, it's actually out within about 3 weeks. It's called Butterfly Safari. The publisher is Graffeg Books. You can go on my website. You can order signed copies from me, or go to the publisher, or it'll be in the shops. And do look
Excellent.
out in the Guardian, as I said, and BBC Wildlife Magazine. They're going to do features on it. So, but I think it's a gorgeous book. It's 4 years of work. So yeah, check it out.
I'm
Check it
excited.
out.
I'm excited for it
Check
to
it
come
out.
out. Yes, go and check out Andrew's book. And like I said, if you don't follow him on social, go and follow him. Send him
Thanks,
some
Dominic.
messages. Lovely. There's so many wonderful comments coming through.
It's really nice. It's really lovely.
We are setting up, we haven't done it yet, but we are setting up a Zoom workshop with
Yeah,
Andrew,
yeah.
probably aiming for March. So actually your book
Yeah.
should be out, and then we
yeah.
can talk a bit about that. But it's going to be birds and butterflies, and
Birds
it's going
and
to be a lot of tips and
Yeah.
techniques. So some really,
Yeah.
really great things. So keep an eye out on our events website, because that will go up in the next week.
Yeah.
And we have lots of other events coming up as well, lives and Zoom sessions throughout January and February. So keep an eye on there for them as well. Andrew, thank you so much for being a guest.
My pleasure.
And
My pleasure.
for showing us your amazing photos and talking us through and telling us your secrets, really, more than anything.
I did give a few away. I'm really
You
annoyed with
did.
myself,
I'm
actually.
surprised, yeah.
She
I
should have
can't
shut me
believe
up.
it. No, I can't
my
do that.
God.
Give the people what they want, that's what I say.
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Loads and loads of people saying thank you. Thank you all for
Yeah.
tuning in and joining us. And Andrew, I hope that we can have you on again when Claire can
Definitely.
make
I
it.
want to do the two Claires. Yes.
Yes, let's do it.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
let's do it.
okay.
Claire, I hope if you're still watching, you made it home safe and sound. And yes, we will see you all on the next one. So, Andrew, thank you. Everyone, thank you. Gav, Sam, Charlotte, thank you for doing the comments and keeping us going. And we'll see you all on the next one.